The biggest fears for people going into retirement are finances and health. And really, in most surveys, health is number one. And why shouldn't it be? Because people are afraid of, declining physically and mentally, that they are going to lose their mobility or their inability to do what they want to do, or they're going to be sick and in the doctor's office all the time. And it's something to fear. But the thing of it is, get a load of this. A lot of that decline, or the degree of decline, is self-inflicted, based on poor choices about what to do and what not to do. And by the way, I recently went through that decline for several months because of a bizarre thing that happened to me. But what I'm going to share with you in this video is how I was living vastly younger than my age health-wise before this problem, and how I was able to make a fast rebound. I can help you with that in very doable ways to join me in my aspiration to die young at an old age.
Helping you find your new way forward to the best years of your life. This is a New Way Forward podcast with your host, Paul Long.
Okay, so here's my story, as brief as I can tell it. So a year ago at this time, I was waiting for surgery on my right knee, partial knee replacement. But the thing of it is I did what I was supposed to do. I went into it in as good a shape as possible. I did what exercises I could tolerate pain-wise. I had a great surgeon, did the partial. Within 2 hours of the surgery, I'm walking up and down the hallways. I've got a walker with me, but I really didn't even need it. And there were two nurses working on something, and I said, "Hey, I hope this isn't annoying you." And they said, "Annoying us? No, we love it. You see all these rooms here, the double, like 12 rooms that were in the area where we were having post-op care?" She's like, "We can't ever get these people out of bed, and they're supposed to get out of bed. They're supposed to start walking right away. They're even supposed to get out of bed and show us that they can go to the bathroom before we can release them, and they won't do it." This is the self-inflicted part. And so I made a miraculous recovery. I had 2 weeks of PT left, and they politely asked me to not come anymore because I was ahead of where I was supposed to be. And they said, "We need to make room for those people that won't get out of bed. People that the only time they'll work out is when they come here and they have to." Self-inflicted. Poor choice. But then a very bizarre thing happened in which a few months later, I was playing racquetball 3 months after my surgery. But then about 3 months after that, I had a large hematoma in my knee. My knee, for unknown reasons, just started bleeding. And full of old blood and the pressure and the inflammation from the blood, I was in constant 24/7 pain and discomfort. And I couldn't do hardly anything. I could work at my desk. I could get up and down stairs and things of that sort. But I couldn't drive far, I couldn't walk, I couldn't work out. And then I started feeling the decline, and I was just in the early throes of it for a few months. But let me tell you, it's all it cracked up to be. It sucked. It sucked. I didn't feel good, my energy level was down, my patience level was down, my ability to deep think or be creative or whatever went down. Simple things that I do all the time that I suddenly didn't want to do. It's almost, in some ways, I can't describe it, except it really sucked. Because the big thing is I couldn't live my life. Oh, and by the way, I live up north. I was missing the whole summer. It really showed me how negative an impact it could be. Now, that hematoma was not self-inflicted, unless I accidentally bumped something lightly and didn't even think about it because I was clumsy. But the fact of the matter is that most, as I mentioned, aging health problems come from what we do or don't do. So let's jump back 15 years ago when I was going to figure out my new way forward. I obviously wasn't calling it that at the time. And I realized I'm not in the best health. I need to change that if I'm going to have the energy and ability to figure it out and discover it and then pursue it and then enjoy it. I came up with the thing about, because I heard it somewhere, I want to die young at an old age. And I'm not the most disciplined person in the world. I mean, you couldn't put me on some strict diet or regimen and I'd fail. So that's important. You got to know yourself. I'm like, what will work for me? So here I'm getting into the tips and methods for you to succeed at getting in better health. I had to figure out what's realistic for me. What can I do? I also knew that I had to start off easy. And so somehow this idea came to me. It was at a time when, you were starting to hear about take 10,000 steps a day for good health. I was like, what if I took 10,000 baby steps to improve my health? And so what I did is I made a promise to myself, which I kept. And it was easy to keep because it actually was pretty easy to do. Is that every morning or night before, I would decide one little healthy thing I was going to do the next day that I didn't usually do. So whether that was exercise by taking a brisk walk, or in the morning lifting. I have a couple of barbells. I have one of those big balls. I was going to do 15 minutes of exercise, or I was going to try a plant-based meal, or maybe I was going to take a protein like a meat and cut it in half and only eat half of it, treat it as a side. All sorts of things that I started doing. And I've created a PDF that you can download. It's in the description or down below. That's got, not 10,000 ideas, come on, but it's got a whole list of possibilities just to get you started. You come up with your own, that's the best thing. But here's what I noticed, and here's what was really, really amazing about it, is that all of a sudden, I'm doing these things, I'm noticing, oh, that thing I did last Thursday, I'm still doing. Oh, that thing that I did a couple of weeks ago, I've actually increased the effort or whatever with it. All of a sudden, I started going to the gym more and more and more. In other words, what you're doing is you're getting into it. You're getting into it. And you're starting to feel the benefits of it. And you're starting to feel better about yourself because you're doing it. Because, again, it's been determined that when we eat properly in terms of aging, health, when we're eating properly, good nutrition, not, certainly getting rid of, highly processed foods, only the healthy fats. I don't even need to go through it. You know what I'm talking about. You don't have to go extreme. And by the way, I cheat all the time, and I plan on it, because if I don't, I'm going to give up on it. That's knowing myself. But then exercise, aerobic exercise is very important. Like I'm getting here, climbing these hills, walking or working yourself up to the point, every time you walk, trying to walk a little faster, a little faster, a little faster, shorter time in the route that you take, or whatever, to the point where I almost am, where it's a little hard to talk. And then the biggest thing is resistance training. Resistance training is the one proven by research, scientifically proven way to actually reverse your age, because it's not just about lifting weights and muscle tone. There are so many positive physical interactions in your body when you are stressing it in all ways, in resistance training or intermittent fasting, hot and cold therapy, saunas, and cold shower, or maybe some brief bursts of cold. All of those things, because when the body is stressed, what it does, and this makes so much sense, is it optimizes itself. It's like the way we were back in cave dwelling days. You know, intermittent fasting works because our body says, hey, we may be going into a famine situation here, because back then it was feast or famine. So we really need to optimize ourselves. When you were exerting yourself physically a great deal, hey, we need to optimize ourselves because we're going to need all the energy we can to survive. That's the whole point. It's how do you survive? You stress your body like that. But when you sit on your butt all the time, and when you graze with food all the time, your body's like, hey, there's no problem here. We don't have to do a damn thing except just the basic functions. Yeah, it really is that simple. It really is that simple. So the fact of the matter is, you have a choice. You have a choice as to how you want your olderhood to be. Yes, like me, something can reach up and bite you in the butt that came out of nowhere. And yes, you know, I am still the age that I am. I've been on earth and exposed to bad food and toxins and bad choices that definitely affects my health. But I've also got to say that, you know, like my doctor says, you're one of the healthiest patients I have, and you are by far the oldest. And I told you before that he says I'm in better shape than people who are 25 years or more younger than me. And here's the last thing I want to share with you, and this is so foundationally important that you really can't afford to not do it. And that is that you must know your why. You know, health is a perfect example of the importance of your why, because you probably know that gyms do a great business around New Year's Day because of people, you know, signing up for the gym, New Year's resolution, oh, I'm going to get healthy and everything. And yet the second Friday after New Year's is known as quit day. And that 92% of people have abandoned their New Year's resolution by early February. And why is that? Yeah, why? Because you could say, all right, I want to be healthy. Okay, and you've got to ask this why question several times usually. So, I want to be healthy. Why do you want to be healthy? Well, I'm supposed to be healthy. Well, why are you supposed to be healthy? Well, because I want to feel good. Well, why do you want to feel good? Well, because I don't want to feel sick. Well, why don't you want to feel sick? And it's like, well, because I want to do what I want to do. Well, why do you want to do what you want to do? Well, you know, the fact of the matter is that, you know, I want to be there for my wife and my kids, you know, and I've got things that I want to do. Boom. Now you know your why. You've gone from just saying, oh, well, I want to be healthy because I think I'm supposed to having that driving reason for why you want to be healthy. It's something meaningful to you. That's what drives me. You know, I want to be there for my wife and my kids and my upcoming grandkids. And I've got this thing that I'm doing that means a lot to me. And you know what? I'm going to die someday, but I'm in no rush to leave this party. It's knowing your why. It's taking the 10,000 baby steps. And the last point I want to make is that besides the fact that these things are so doable, they don't have to be that hard. You know, by just taking those baby steps, by just doing those things, and then you start feeling the benefits of it, and you feel good about yourself instead of feeling lousy about yourself, instead of hating yourself. And you start feeling the differences, and then all of a sudden you get into it. I mean, I love going to the gym now, and it's more than just working out and why I'm doing it, but I enjoy the people, I enjoy what I'm doing, it's a getaway, it's a break, I feel better from it. All of these positive things can happen by you just starting with those baby steps, because it doesn't take long, as is the case of my period of decline and how fast I've bounced back from it. And I've heard story after story of people in their 70s, even their 80s, that yes, workouts can make a huge difference in your current health and in your long-term health. It's not about lifespan, it's about health span. How long can you be alive, active, vibrant, and independent? If you've got a damn good reason not to do that, other than, by the way, paying respect to those who do have a congenital condition or something from an accident that limits them. Obviously, I'm talking to those of us who in some way, shape, or form can mitigate it. And even if we do have things that are slowing us down or limiting, there are still things that we can do and still can improve it. It's a choice, and it's yours. And I think the answer in taking the action is obvious.
Learn more ways to enhance your life and discover a new way forward that's perfect for you by watching these videos or any others on my channel. Oh, and be sure to subscribe.